Welcome to the All About Pigeons podcast, brought to you by the All About Pigeons nonprofit organization, which is dedicated to promoting education and promotion of the pigeon hobby. Every week, a listener requests to drive our conversations about all things pigeons. Join me, Philip Fry, as we learn and share stories about these incredible birds and this ancient hobby. Today we have with us John Fincel. He's been long distance racing pigeons since him and his father were doing it back in 1958, and he has a long history with that. So we're going to talk about long distance pigeon racing today. So John, thanks so much for coming on and talking with us.
Thanks for having me.
You've been racing pigeons with your dad since 1958. Can you talk about your introduction into pigeons and how you guys got into doing that?
Well, my father got birds from two old flyers in Buffalo. One was Father Divichik, and the other one was Matt Carpenti. And my father quickly put a loft up in a garage and up in the top, and that's what we started with. And after a while, there was another gentleman, a friend of ours. His name was Stanley Radon. He had the old scions. He had family issues, so he gave us all his birds. And he had a AU Hall of Fame champion called Monica. It was either 1964 or 1965. Well, anyway, that's what I started off with, all the scions. And then I liked the reds from Charlie Heinzman. So I started buying birds from Heinzman. We had 24 pair of stock birds of all scions from Charlie Heinzman. And that's what we flew, and that's what we went forward with.
So all your family was scions from the beginning then?
Well, we had odds and end birds in 1958, and then 1975 is when I had bought my first pair of birds from Charlie Heinzman. And just before that, it's got to be about 1970 is when we got the scions from Stanley Radon. He lived in Lackawanna, New York.
And what pigeon club were you guys racing with back then?
Back then, we were flying with the Peerless Racing Pigeon Club, and the association was the Buffalo Association. We had 7 clubs that flew in that association, and that's what we were flying with.
What's the club scene look like now?
We don't really have a club anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's sad because I miss it, but the old timers quit. The younger people never got into it, and it was like it just fell apart.
So you talked about the Buffalo Association ran a 500 championship race every year.
Yeah.
And can you talk a little bit about that and some of the wins that you had in the 80s with that?
Look at the 500-mile championship race. I love that race because it was called the championship race. And I always strive for that race and the 600 Grand International race. For the 500-mile championship race, we used to have 35 pair of race birds. So what I ended up doing was, since we had 3 long races, I broke my team up into 3 separate teams. So I set them up on eggs for 18 days, 18 days on race day. And I just picked out the best that I had. I was not a mob flyer. So all the long races that we won, I won with only 9, 7, 5 birds shipping all the time. I picked out the best, and that's all I needed.
So when you were picking out the best back then, has what you consider to be a good pigeon changed to what you consider a good pigeon now when it comes to picking out good birds?
I think it changed a little bit because all the long distance strains are basically all gone. I mean, if you look to see where the scions are, Charlie Heinzman passed away. I mean, he gave some birds away. He sold a lot of his birds, but nobody really has them. And since we're not racing the long races anymore, I ended up getting cancer. A guy in New York ended up buying all my science that I had because he goes, I had the true science, the only one that he can find. And he bought me right out. And that's what he has right now. So I don't have any of the science here anymore because nobody has long distance races anymore.
So when you're looking at a bird, are you talking mainly wingspan?
Wingspan, how they handle small, medium type birds. I mean, I like when the tip of the wings went right down to almost the back of the tail. There was so many things that I looked for. Racing was all about them, and sometimes I never pushed my birds hard enough where some guys would fly them every week. I never did. I took my time with them. I worked with them, and they might fly 2 races a year, and that was it. Some of them flew 4 races a year, and but I picked them when they were in shape. They were conditioned to fly, and that's how I shipped my birds to the races.
How does your training method work for these long distance races, and what age do you start that with?
I usually start all of that from yearlings up because as young birds, I only flew my young birds up to 200 miles and I stopped them at 300 miles. I would throw, odds and ends in there, and that was it. As yearlings, I would train them. Believe it or not, I before I went to work, I would go 50 miles and I triple toss them every morning. And then after a while, when we trained at night, we let the hens out first, and then we let the cockbirds out about 10 minutes later.
How much would you work up to? So you're going 50-mile tosses right there, and then after that, would you just make pretty big jumps on the distances?
Yeah, I mean, once the birds were, 1 year old, 2, 3 year olds, they had enough races under the belt. I mean, I flew them anyway. Then I didn't worry about it. I would ship them. Normally, what I would do is I ship them a couple short races, 100, 150, 200. Then all I did was race them, not race them. I would train them, I would set them up on age, and that's what I ended up doing. So they didn't fly a lot of races for me. I didn't believe in pushing them every week by week by week because you burn them out, especially when it comes down to long races.
Are you letting them loft fly?
Yes, I would. In the morning, I would loft fly my birds for 1 hour in the morning, and I would clean them. And then after evenings, when my father would come home, eat dinner, and then my father would take him 50 miles away and let him go.
How are you shipping the birds out for those 150 and 200-mile drops?
Well, we went through the club, so we would ship through the club, and we had our races over there, and that's how we got our birds in races. I mean, I would never train my birds further than 50 miles. I believe they didn't need it when they were a couple years old, 3 years old. They didn't need that hard training. They just need short tosses to make sure they know where to break and how to come home.
What would your initial toss be?
First toss for young birds, I would take them maybe 10 miles. Then I would take them 20 miles. Then I would take them again 20 miles. And I jump them to 30. And I had to hit spots all the way down where I had enough open space to let them out.
You're releasing in all four directions, or were you always going from one certain area?
I always did the line of flight.
And so they wouldn't even be really doing any long distance training until they were fully developed. And that was the point of what you were waiting for that age.
Yes. Because when I talked with Charlie Heinzman, he was a master in long races and getting those birds to come home. He always believed the Science were a slow maturing family. So as young birds, he never pushed them past 200 miles. As yearlings, he never flew them past 300 miles, and that's what I did. Then as 2 year olds and up, that's when he pushed them, and that's what I ended up doing, and it worked. But I didn't push them that hard. I just waited my time. I picked the birds that were in condition, and that's what I shipped. And the guys in the club used to laugh at me. You got 100 pigeons, all you're shipping is 7 birds. And that's what I used to do. And they did very well for me.
So you don't have any scions right now. What are some of the bloodlines that you do have in your loft?
Right now, I got some of the bloodlines from Vic Miller. I got Mike Yanis bloodlines. I got a Duluth bloodlines. I got a couple Jansons that I have here. And that's basically it. I only got 15 pair of birds. That's all I have.
And I mean, compared to what you've seen over the years of flying long distance, do you think that these birds, still cut it, still do long distance flying in the way you'd like to see?
If I had the family of birds, I kept my scions and we had a long race. I think I would do very well with them.
What about eye sign when you're looking at the pigeon's eye? Do you put any weight on that when it comes to breeding or choosing a pigeon?
You know, with my scions, I always like a dark chestnut color eye. And I always like to breed a light color eye to a dark color eye. But then when you have all your scions having all dark color eyes, I call them chestnut color. They're dark and rich. Well, that's all I had. That's how I kept them together and bred them. I mean, I was never really an eyesight man. I just put the best to the best, and that's how I bred.
Winner to winner, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was your recovery process like after these birds came back from a long distance race?
My recovery was phenomenal because we used to fly on Friday. That's when they released the birds. So on Saturday, I give them a tablespoon of honey to a gallon of water. And on Sundays throughout the whole year, I would take a cod liver oil pill that I bought at the GNC store, and I would handle every single one of my birds and give them a cod liver oil pill to see how they handle, how they felt, and to make sure no one was getting sick or getting run down. It was a lot of work, but I enjoy doing
So those cod liver pills are pretty big, aren't they?
that. Yes, yes, they
Okay.
were. But when you put them down their throat, they just slid right down. And I figure, just one pill a week. I mean, my birds were never sick. They never got sick. They were as healthy as ever. And I had so many compliments on the birds. And we just had a system that worked for us.
So you were only doing that then during the race season?
No, I used to give them caloreal pills every single week for the whole year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, that gives you, like you said, it's a good excuse to get in there and handle your birds too.
Yeah. And I always loved spending time with the birds when I was growing up. So I would go there and I had my birds trained. I used a 3 foot long dowel and I would tap the floor twice and they would all fly into the nest box. What I did was it wasn't hard for me to catch them, just go in the nest box, pick out every single one, and give them a cowboy royal pill.
So was that feed training, the tapping on the floor to get them to do that?
No, it was more of a discipline type thing. I would tap the stick two, three times on the floor. They would fly in. In the beginning, I had a hard time, so I would chase them into their nest box. Then I would tap the floor with the stick, and they would just look at me. I go, "You guys are learning. That's where you have to go." And I talk to my birds like I talk to a human. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
and they learned. And I had a couple of pigeon flyers here one day, and when I tapped that stick on the floor, they all flew in. They couldn't believe it. I go, that's how well tamed they are and how well trained they are. And it worked for me because I didn't have to chase them around the loft trying to catch them to give them a cow liver oil pill. I just went up and down every nest box and grabbed both birds and gave them a pill.
Did you ever do any deworming with any of your pigeons?
To be honest with you, as much I believe in giving birds a lot of good vitamins, keeping them healthy, and I really never medicated much through my whole life. I mean, and I never had really a sick bird. I mean, I do vaccinate once a year, but I don't medicate them. I don't give them nothing all year long.
Is that just the P and B vaccine that you're giving them?
Yes, the paratyphoid and the PMV vaccine, I use both of that, and that's all I vaccinate them for. And outside of that, I don't have sick birds. My birds look great, and I never had issues with them.
So you said you do give them like supplements. What are some of the supplements that you're giving them?
You're gonna laugh at this one, but some time ago, what I used to buy a supplement out of New York from his name was John. I was using that for the longest time. I loved it, and then he got out of the pigeon sport for whatever reason, and he wanted to sell me his whole system for the birds. I was young. I couldn't afford it. It was called Pigeon World Products with John Fincel from Staten Island. And I still got the little catalog here from him. And I used to use a super form. I use all season multivitamins, super vital feed supplement. He had a lot of different things, and that's what I used. When he got out of it, I didn't pursue it because I think he wanted too much for him. And my father told me, "Don't get it, don't do it." But right now, what I'm using is a product out of Europe called Goldbird Products. A lot of Europeans are using it. I think there's a couple guys in the U.S. that's using it. I've been using it for 3 years. Well, going on 4 years now, and I've never had a sick bird. My birds are as healthy as ever. And when I sell birds or help guys out, new guys with birds, they would call me up, or their mentors would call me up and say, "I never seen a healthier bird like the birds you sent this guy." So that's all I use. Got to use a lot of vitamins in the water every day. You got to put oil on their feed with powders on their feed every single day. It's a lot of work, but I enjoy doing it because I don't like using medication.
What kind of oils are you putting on their feed?
The oils that I put on their feed is oregano 500. I put powdered 10 oil, bioherb, methical, and that's about it, really. I just do it 5 times a week, and the other two days they don't get nothing on the feed.
We were talking earlier about the long distance racing, and you're talking about a system that you had when it comes to bringing the birds in and feeding at night with a light. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay, when we were trained, I just had my lights on inside the coop because I live out in the country. There's absolutely no lights. So when they would come down, they would come back home out of the west, and I would hear them. I whistle. They make a circle. They would be all over the place, heading the wires, whatever, because it was dark outside. But then they would find their way in, and they would come in, and they would eat, drink, and about 11 o'clock, I turn the lights off when they were all settled in.
So, I mean, 11 o'clock, that's pretty late. Would you say that's typical for some of these long distance birds to stay on the wing in the dark like that?
You know, throughout the years of racing, I listened to a lot of people when I was growing up. We went to every convention every year, and I would sit there and listen to these people. And I would say, "Well, I don't like that one, but I like what he does. I like what he does." And I put together a system. But, animals are like people. If they're got a system where they come home, they eat certain times of the day, they want to eat certain times of the day. They go to bed certain times of the day. And, pigeons are no different. So when they would come home at 10 o'clock at night, little after 10, I would let them eat, drink. Sometimes I turn the lights off a little bit earlier, but I would make sure they all ate and drank. They ate as much as they can eat twice a day. I turned the lights off and they would rest for the evening. Then at 5:30 in the morning, I would kick them out and I'll left fly them for 1 hour.
So, what are some of the longest distances that you've raced your pigeons before?
The longest race we had was 600. And one year, Dunkirk had 1,000-mile race coming out of Texas. We did ship one bird to that, and we never got him back. But then a lot of guys said they never got the good birds back. So the guy, and a lot of controversy with that race, but we did ship one bird and we never got him back. And I thought we were going to do good with that bird. But the furthest we had was 600 miles in Buffalo.
That's a stretch. Those take some seriously athletic birds to achieve that distance.
Yes. During the year, we had 10 races, 10 old bird races. We had a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6. And that was almost right in a row. And that's how we flew 4 years ago. And it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Do you ever send in for the one loft races?
I do here and there, but not much because I'm retired, so I can't afford to dish out all that money. But 2 years, I think it was 3 years ago, I shipped one bird to the Hoosier Classic. I shipped a white. It was out of a good pair that I had, and he had over 4,000 pigeons. Well, anyway, that bird finished the whole season. It didn't win anything, but I was 1 for 1. And I heard about all these guys who shipped 10 birds. You only had one or two left, or some guys didn't have any. I shipped one and it flew every single race, and I got the bird back. I had a guy stop in here to see me, and he wanted to buy the bird so bad. He gave me an offer for it, and I sold it. And I go, oh, should have never sold that bird. There was a race called the I Race years ago. I've won the I Race, and they had another gold race attached to it. So I nominated my bird to be in both of them. I did win both of them first place. And then the following year, I got fourth and seventh with nestmates in that race.
Been racing for a long time and in club racing and especially with this long distance stuff, and you've seen people coming into the racing world. What would you say is a pretty common mistake that new fanciers are making when they get into racing pigeons?
The biggest mistakes they made is taking birds from everybody. And I try telling people when I give birds to people to help them get started, I don't give them garbage. I give them birds that I can sell online for a couple $100 or whatever. And I go, here, this is all you need. This is all you stay with. And a lot of guys will take birds from people that just want to get rid of them. And then they can't do well after a couple of years of flying. They're last, and they quit.
So you're saying, yeah, just quality right off the bat. Don't try to selective breed your way out of some cold.
I always tell people, if you're going to get into racing, find somebody that you can trust, or somebody in your club that's willing to help you out with good birds, not birds that they want to get rid of. Decent birds that they would keep for themselves to breed and race. That's what you want to start with. I mean, you can't go to Mike Gannis and spend thousands of dollars for birds, because you'll go broke after the first couple of years. But later on, when you know what you're doing with the birds, you get a system going, your birds are doing well, then you can go to Mike Gannis and says, well, I want this bird. Then you can spend money on birds. I mean, that's what I did growing up. I never went out and bought birds right away. I worked with the birds that I had with my father. And after that is when I started buying the birds from Charlie Heinzman.
Was your father a longtime pigeon racer as well?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's like generational for you then.
Mm-hmm.
It's in your blood.
Mm-hmm. Big time. I never had a girlfriend growing up because I,
That's where it
I
all went right
spent too
there.
much. I spent too much time in the coop.
Yep. Some of the races that your dad did, that was probably back when they were doing shipping the birds out on trains, right?
No, there was just shortly after that. Buffalo had a truck that some of the members built. They had some very knowledgeable flyers in Buffalo. So they built this trailer, and they put it onto the back of a truck. They installed it on. It was all made out of aluminum, and that's how we shipped the birds for training and for races. And the truck, I think the truck held 1,500 birds, and we would get over 1,000 birds a race. The first race my father won was in 1967. I'll never forget that. The band name was 1374. That was a dark check cockbird in 1967, and he won a 150-mile race with over 1,000 birds in the race.
That's such good participation too.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a lot of birds.
yeah.
So I mean, how do you see the pigeon hobby going forward? Like, what do you think it really needs to be successful and to keep growing?
Oh my God, that's a tough question. I talked to a lot of people, and with all the one-off races out there, they said, "What? Why should I spend my time being on the road, spending all this money for gas, training, when I can send them to a one loft race and take my chances with them?" And I I love training. I mean, to me, that's that's all the fun with pigeon is training. And I would love to go out train my birds every day. If I couldn't do it, my father would take them, and we would help one another out, and that's how we became successful.
The one lofts really do play to the convenience factor, almost like a lottery kind of advertisement towards a lot of the stuff as well.
This new guy that I got started here, he only wanted two or three pair of birds, and he wants to ship birds all over. I go, listen, you need more than two, three pair of birds. You're going to need at least 10, 15 pair of birds. If you, oh, I don't want that many. Well, he made a commitment to get into Louisiana Classic one loft race. He made a commitment to get into the AU race. Then he comes over to me. He goes, "Do you got any youngsters for me to put him?" I go, "Oh my God, I knew it. I told you, you know." So I helped him out. I gave him 12 youngsters, and he's got two young kids that got involved with the birds. They love him, and they're with the birds all day. And so when he drove down to Chicago this year to put birds in, he put two birds in AU convention race, and then he's got six birds in that junior race, three birds for each of his kids in there, and then he wanted the bird first, so I gave him a super nice bird for the Louisiana one loft race.
When you see how fun it is actually for the training and doing the releases and things like that, you gotta,
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing it with his kids there too. So that's a big part of it right there is just showing the youth too. I always like turning my birds out in public places. Like I'll do it at the Ace Hardware parking lot or the Walmart parking
Okay.
lot, so that way a bunch of people can see and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully talk about it a little bit with some people and show them because yeah, it's always in, I'll call home and have my son say, which one's getting in there first. And yeah, the training is fun.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of fun to see how your birds are developing and coming along and, following families and stuff like that.
And when Steve comes over with his two kids, they always ask me, "Can I go in the coop and go in the coop?" I let them go in the coop, and they can handle the birds, they catch them. They, oh my God, they love them that much. So that's why when they wanted to fly the junior race in the AU, I gave them three birds each. Here you go, and I basically grabbed a bunch of really good birds, and I let them pick out what they wanted. And here you go.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. That's what it also takes to help, yeah, with the future, giving out good birds, not, garbage.
Oh yeah, I helped out a lot of people through my whole life. I mean, I helped out clubs with their club auctions to raise money so they don't have to pay so much money for shipping. I helped out people that came over here. Like there was a young lady here. Her name was Kathy. She was 10 years old. She came here. She liked to burn the loft. So I go, here you go. It's a gift from me to you. Here it is. And then I met her. Oh my God, about 30, 25 years later. I was showing birds at the Erie County Fairgrounds. She comes up to me. She goes, "Are you John Fincel?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "You don't remember me?" I go, "No." And then she told me who she was. I go, "Oh my God, Kathy." Well, when I showed all my birds, I won. All my birds won a ribbon, and I won best in show, best champion loft, best reserve bird, everything. And then she goes, "Well, I want to buy a pair from you." And I told her, "Well, just take what you want." And she goes, "Well, I can't take your winners." I go, "They're all winners." So at the end of the show, I took two birds and I go, "Here, two birds from me to you. Owe me nothing. Put them together. You're going to breed nothing but show winners." Well, she won with those birds from Kentucky to Pennsylvania to New York to Ohio, wherever she was showing the birds, she won. and she was so happy, and we kept in touch for the longest time.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, spark that interest when they're young, and she even, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're coming up against the clock here, but John, it's been a real pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about your long distance racing with us and all the tips and tricks. Really appreciate your time.
Well, I hope I helped you out, and with everything I told you. So, it was a pleasure talking to you as well.
Thank you for listening to another ad-free, listener-requested episode of the All About Pigeons podcast. If you like the show and want to help us keep it going, as well as supporting our other pigeon promotional work, head over to our website at pigeonpod, that's pigeonpod.com, and make a donation. We are a non-profit public charity, so once you've made your donation, you'll receive an email with a tax-deductible receipt. If you can't donate today, please help us out by leaving us a 5-star review wherever you listen. Any episode requests, upcoming pigeon shows, competition results, or you just want to send a shout out for a club or a friend to be read on air, just email it over to staff@pigeonpod.com. And make sure to check out the one-of-a-kind pigeon t-shirts, hats, and other swag at our website, pigeonpod.com. Thanks again for listening, and remember, together the hobby thrives. Support each other and enjoy your pigeons.